It being 10:30, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission of February 7th, 2018 to order. Mr. Lee Buzigor, will you lead us in pledge of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank all of you for attending. I'd like to remind you, please turn down your cell phones. And next, Mr. Sherman, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Seat A, Chucky Sherman, here. Seat B, Perry Gisclair.
Here.
Seat C, Chris Godet.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Here.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Here.
Seat G, John Mellison.
Here.
Seat H, Jimmy Guidry.
Here.
Seat I, Irvin Bruce. Absent. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sherman. Next is consider approval of the minutes of January 10th, 2018 regular meeting.
Move. Second.
Moved by Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Mellison. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is Executive Director's Report. Mr. Chiassa.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion projects. First project is Northern Expansion GLF Site 625 improvements. Angelette Piciola, Mr. Larry Piciola.
Yes, the contract on this project was sea level. This project is in the lean period. It's scheduled to come off of the lean period on February 28th. So at the next meeting, you will be approving this lien-free certificate.
Any questions?
Okay, Northern Expansion Slip C 939-foot west bulkhead.
Yes, this project is Sea Level is the contractor, and they have installed all the brackets for the bumper pipe. The bumper pipe is now installed in the bumper pipe. The installation of the drainage inserts in the bulkhead are done, and I expect them to start painting sometime next week, given the weather, and then after that, they'll start putting in lightweight aggregate. This is moving fine. The new completion date with rain days is April 22nd for this project.
Any question?
All right. Northern Expansion Slip C 939 west sweep dredging project.
Yes, we had bids were taken yesterday on this project, and we had 6 bidders. They were good bids. The low bidder was Magnolia Dredging and Docks. They had a bid of $437,000, $437,616, and the next bidder was Crosby, which was $1,456 above that. So we had 2 real close bids. So later on in the agenda, you'll have this project up for award.
Do you recall what high bid was?
1.2 million.
It's a big spread. Thank you.
Any other question? Thank you, Mr. Lara.
Okay, Northern Expansion Slip C 1,671-foot east bulkhead, Piciola and Associates, Joe Piciola.
Crosby Dredging is the contractor. They've been driving concrete piles for the dead men. They've already completed driving for 6 dead men, and that seems to be moving along pretty good. They started receiving the steel sheets Monday afternoon, and they started actually driving them yesterday. So actually the project's going pretty good. They have over half the sheets already coated, so they'll be continually getting those in. So everything is on schedule now.
Okay. Any questions for Joe? Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Thank you.
Mitigation dredge of Slip D, J-Wayne Plaisance Engineers, John.
The contractor continues to pump the material into the spoil areas. He's making good progress. He's going to be close to having it on time, but he's also going to have some weather days, so I think he'll be fine with that. It seems like we might run a little over on quantities too, but when we get a better idea of that, we'll let y'all know on that as well.
Any questions?
Hey, thank you.
John.
Thanks, John. Okay, airport projects, Richard.
Well, I'm very pleased to tell you all that January has been the busiest month of the year so far. Letting that sink in.
That's good.
2,208 operations, 9,326 passengers, and 3,186 vehicles. Actually, it's one of our slowest months, but we should climb up in here in April when the fish spotters come back. Okay. The taxiway lighting project, they've actually set another 40 forms to pour this week. They're looking to have another 40. They've already done 40, so looking at 40 more this week. They continue to make progress, good progress on the project, and they're doing a good job. Weather's going to slow them up a little this week, though. The loop brine line replacement, the only reason we're mentioning this is because they're completely finished with the project. They've demobilized. They've got the site returned back to its original condition. We're just making mention of it because it's closed out. It will be on no further agendas from this date. But if y'all have any questions, that's all I have for you today.
One question.
Yes, sir.
January's operations over the prior year, how does that look?
Yeah, it's in the ballpark.
About the same?
The 4 worst months are November, December, January, and February. Could be because of weather, could be because of holidays. But then we start climbing back up in March, April. So those are our 4 worst months. So January, February could be slow.
Yeah, so this January over last January is about the same?
Yeah, it should be right on par. I haven't got the numbers with me in hand, but yeah, they should be in the ballpark.
Just interested to see if there's an increase, year over year.
There is a year-to-year 17 compared to 16, where we did a full year comparison of data, and we are seeing increases, but they'll fluctuate from month to month.
Okay.
But it is the highest activity month this year.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Richard. Okay, other projects. First is the Section 203 feasibility study with GIS engineering. I don't think they have anyone here. Joni's going to give us the update.
Okay, so just to round up, we had a series of very productive meetings on the Section 203 study back in Washington 2 and a bit weeks ago. Some of those highlights included a meeting with headquarters for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service about their agency coordination. They were very happy and said it out loud that they were very happy with the quality and the quantity of the information that they're getting, the timeliness that they're getting it, and that hopefully will reduce the amount of comments and the time that they take in reviewing the draft EIS once they get it. Folks at Corps headquarters had similar things to say, and they also mentioned that with the administration's focus on streamlining permitting, that they're anticipating some tweaks to the 203 process in general, but they feel very confident that that's actually going to benefit us. And everybody that we met with across legislative delegations, agency folks, committee staff, were all very impressed with our benefit cost ratio numbers, which are well over 10 to 1, which is very, very good. And they're on board with assisting us in making sure that economic benefits under Section 6009 are included, which help to get us to that extremely high level of benefit cost ratio. And working with us on what some legislative fixes might be to pave the road for our final approval going forward. As far as timeline goes, we have an all-in team meeting tomorrow between GIS and the Water Institute and ourselves to get alignment and finalize beneficial use management plan stuff. That's going to allow everybody to move forward on final cost numbers and environmental impact analyses, which really drive the project. All of that is to say that keeps us pretty much on target for a March delivery of a draft EIS. And then however, agency comment happens after that, peer review happens after that, but that should keep us on track for a June, July delivery of a final EIS, and that should take us out to a end of year, give or take a few weeks, approval to move forward. So, any questions?
Any questions for Joni?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joni. Okay, LA 308 Airport Access Improvements, Picciola and Associates. Joe.
We're still waiting on right-of-way approvals with the parish and the port, and then with the parish and the water district. That's supposed to be on the next meeting's agenda for approval. Once that's done, we should be able to move forward with the project.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
The only comment I have, does the parish and council understand everything involved with it? Is it a permit? Does it have to be put in an ordinance or resolution?
We got some clarification that it has to be as presented as an ordinance, and we have revised some language to make it more clear as to actually what we're doing.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Joe.
Hopefully.
Okay, Fourchon Bridge Removal Project. Joe.
Yes, Tidewater Docks is the contractor. The contracts are currently being processed with the parish to finalize the contracts with the contractor. We are having a pre-construction meeting tomorrow, and the tentative date for notice to proceed or actually shutting it down is February 19th. So by the end of the month, we'll be working on this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then the LA1 Phase 2 Leeville Mitigation Dredge Project, Angelette Picciola. Mr. Larry Picciola.
Yes, the contract on this job is the Magnolia Dredging and Dock. They're at the site now. As you can see, they had some problems at the beginning getting started because of all the freeze. They had some of the equipment freeze up and breaking pipe. They finally got that all straight. They also had one of the excavators flip. There were 4 people involved, but nobody got hurt. So you can see they have a new excavator. Last week they started working 24/7, and so I think they're going to be on schedule. They're having a little bit trouble closing off the 2 little gaps they have because they can't get there with a marsh buggy excavator. But I think they're going good. The completion date for this project is March 31st.
They should get some weather days, correct, Mr. Pissarro?
Now, I have some freeze days.
Freeze days?
Yeah, some freeze days. There's not many weather days, but the freeze got them.
That was a large degree of difficulty.
Yeah, and as you can see in the picture, how shallow it is, and so it made it harder for them to work and get around.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I was asked by the board, the commission, on Monday night to read an op-ed that we did that was in the Daily Comet, and maybe not everyone had the opportunity to see that. So I'll take this time to read that article that was written and put in the Daily Comet that came from what it says on here by Chet Chasson, guest columnist. So apparently it came from our office here. So I'll go ahead and read that, so bear with me. President Trump's State of the Union address Tuesday night followed a week spent in Washington by Port Fourchon officials discussing the port's ambitious future expansion plans and its vital role in America's energy industry with our federal delegation and administration staff. Currently, Port Fourchon is one of the busiest ports in the nation and services over 90% of all deepwater offshore energy production. We're also the conduit through which the Louisiana Offshore Oil Port brings ashore millions of barrels of oil per day, making Port Fourchon the gateway to nearly 20% of the nation's oil supply. Since 1960, the Great Lafourche Port Commission has taken its role as an economic and community developer to heart, growing the port from one small dock facility on the bank of Bayou Lafourche to a sprawling industrial services hub with over 70,000 linear feet of waterside dock space situated on nearly 2,000 acres of developed land. Today, we are responsible for an economic impact to the state of Louisiana of nearly $4 billion annually, including over $650 million in household earnings per year, and we are proud to say that 80% of this economic impact stays right here in Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes. As we have grown on the edge of the Gulf of Mexico, so too has our understanding of the dynamic environment in which we work and our ability to plan and build for the challenges of the future through the application of our holistic resiliency development philosophy. Our role in the energy industry has seen us grow into the largest, most concentrated energy services hub in the nation. Over the past 58 years, our community has seen the ups and downs of the energy industry, and we have been the home of many comeback stories, some of which are being written right now. In recent years, we have been working on planning our future development in a manner that will broaden the base of services Port Fourchon is ideally suited to provide to industry. Through this future planning, we have crafted a holistically resilient vision of our future. This vision requires large-scale investment in infrastructure, both on land and in the water, that will position the United States as the offshore energy services hub for the Western Hemisphere. This is why we were so encouraged to see that our vision for the future of Port Fourchon and our role in America's long-term energy dominance lines up perfectly with the administration's priorities as outlined in the State of the Union address. Listening to the President's speech, it is clear that Port Fourchon's package of future development meets all of the goals of this administration's infrastructure vision. Not only do we offer one coordinated vision to usher in American energy dominance, but we also offer the opportunity to repair and replace a crumbling road by completing the elevation of LA1, deepen one of the nation's busiest and most strategic ports, construct a world-class shipyard facility to enable the United States to bring approximately 1,300 good-paying jobs, fabrication jobs, back home to the U.S., and utilize the dredged materials from our channel deepening works to restore thousands of acres of our precious coast to the landscape, providing thousands of commercial and recreational fishermen with more opportunity to live and work where we love to be. We aren't relying on the government alone. Currently, Port Fourchon operates with no debt, which allows us to use that capacity to maximize and leverage dozens of funding sources to fuel our growth. We also stand side by side with our tenants, partners, and friends in the industry who also realize that the port's synergy with industry fuels our community's dreams for a more prosperous, secure future. The Greater Lafourche Port Commission stands ready to play our part in this new American moment, where we all share in long-term prosperity by increasing the nation's capacity to bring home jobs and investment, restore our coast to provide our built infrastructure and communities natural protective buffers, and flood risk reduction, and keep our recreational and commercial fishery bountiful. Quite simply put, we are Louisiana's best positioned project to attract a large-scale infrastructure investment under this program. And that is the end of that. I think it bears to say and brings to light everything that we talk about every day and all the work that we continue to do and how important the relationship is that we have with our tenants who are really the reason why Port Fourchon is what it is. You know, the customers of the port are the ones that have made the port what it is, with the facilitation that we provide as a commission, and facilitating that growth. So it's a really good partnership, and I think what has been built through the port's investments, through our customers' investments, I know it's going to be the reason why we move forward into the future, and our name keeps elevating in the national economic landscape.
Good job.
Comments?
Good article. You did a good job. You wrote it?
Good job. It goes to show that you can read what he writes.
We have a really good staff that help put a lot of things together that we do. A lot of times my name gets put on things that I certainly have some oversight on, but we have an excellent staff that always makes me look good as well as this commission. So thank you.
They only can do that physically.
What's that?
They only can do that physically.
They can't raise me up physically, no. That wouldn't be easy.
Good article, Joe. Very good article.
That's it. Okay. Thank you. Public
Next
comment.
is, thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. And those, it was in Saturday's comment.
Yes.
Somebody can go back and look at it, but I know some people have missed it. And that's one thing Mr. Pierce brought up for us to read it here tonight, so you could hear it if you missed it on the comment. And it's all positives. Next is public comment. So no public comment. We'll move on to committee reports. And first, the executive committee. Members are Perry Jusclair, Chairman, Larry Griffin, Chucky Sheremy, and John Melanson Jr. First is consider approving assignment of waste auditor's lease GLF 198.
Okay, this is an assignment of Mr. Irving Pratt, who owned the company, is actually transferring ownership to his son, Philip Pratt. So this is an assignment of lease because of the change of ownership within the family.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Sheremy, second by Mr. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the request from In Hot Water to sublease the Clean Waste Holdings on site GLF 611.
So both of these companies are Schwess-owned companies, and They just want to split up some of the work that's taking place on the site from In Hot Water to Clean Waste Holdings, who's going to be providing the services on that location. Recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the request from Morton Holdings to amend lease property description for GLF 307-Main and GLF 307-13.
Okay, so as part of the refinancing that they're doing, as you all approved last month, I believe, we need to fix the lines, and the lines have changed. The property lines have changed from the bulkhead upgrades that Martin has done to the site. So the recommendation is to approve this amendment.
I move.
Moved by Mr. Gode, second by Mr. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the request from Fouchon Heavy Lift to amend lease property description for GLF 402-2.
Just like the one prior, is the same situation as part of the refinance, resurveying things, and this is getting everything proper.
Moved by Mr. Pierce, second by Mr. Guidry. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the request from TampNet for a tower lease.
Okay, so we've been working with TampNet for a long period of time, actually, and their request is to have some tower space as well as some space in the communications room, and they will be paying, what's the rent on that monthly? $4,000 a month in rent, so recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Guidry. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is consider approving the BetNet Cooperative Endeavor Agreement for planning in the mitigation area.
So this agreement is like it says, cooperative endeavor agreement between the Port Commission and BetNet. They will go out to the site that you're seeing, the two sites you're seeing here, and do some planting necessary as part of the permitted activity. It's not often that we have to do planting in the area, but these two sites were a little higher than we typically like of built elevation, so we have to do some planting, and this allows that to take place.
Moved by Mr. Gode, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, to consider approving the Chevron Nerby Collins agreement.
Okay, as we've been discussing for a long period of time as well, this agreement allows for 10 parking spaces. You can see that yellow outline rectangle on the bottom of the picture. It also allows for a boat lift to be built, for an outboard to be placed in that boat lift. And they will also give us some cameras that we're going to put on the tower in that area and have access to those cameras as well, security cameras. And all of the improvements that we do, placing signs and putting some bumpers for the parking and the boat lift construction and everything will all be paid out in the first year of the lease. And then it has 5 one-year renewals, depending on what happens with the construction of a bridge, if and when that does come.
I want to stay. This
Mr.
is just a
Chairman.
temporary lease until we fix something. It's not a permanent lease to stretch out. That is not a permanent lease.
Until something's done for
Until it comes,
access.
right.
Assuming there's access at some point.
But it's just stressed because I
correct.
know this was a big thing the other night at the meeting that
Right.
it's just temporary.
Correct. Because of the situation with the bridge
Right.
being removed, because its useful life is over, and
Right.
there's no access outside of that.
Yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? Moved by,
Mr. Mellison?
we moved already?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
okay, Mr. Sherby, second by Mr. Mellison. All in any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Sometimes we get lost, Mr. President.
Okay, next we move on to Construction and Development Committee. Members are Irvin Bruce Chairman, Larry Griffin, Perry Gisclair, and Rodney Gisclair. In absence of Mr. Bruce, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is consider accepting the lowest responsive bid for slip C939 West Sweep Dredge Project.
Okay, as Mr. Larry Picciola mentioned, Magnolia Dredge and Dock LLC was the lowest responsive bidder for $437,616. That's, listen to this, that's $2.70 a cubic yard. That's almost unheard of, quite honestly. So that's a really good price. So recommendation is to approve that.
Moved by Mr. Gisclair, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next is consider approving the cooperative endeavor agreement with the Lafourche Parish Water District for the water line extension along Minor Jeremy Senior Road.
Okay, as we typically do with the water lines, we do an agreement with them. We'll cost share the construction of the water line, 600 feet on Minor Jeremy Road. Recommendation to approve.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Goudet, second by Mr. Sheremy. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Griffin. And I hope if Mr. Bruce is down and sick, I hope he has a speedy recovery. Next, we move into Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison Jr., Chairman, Jimmy Guidry, Chris Goody, and Perry Gisclair. Mr. Mellison.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by considering approving payments of the January 2018 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. Item 1, Crosby Dredging, LLC, $621,759.76. And that is for Slip D mitigation dredging and Slip C Phase 3 bulkhead. Item 2, Sea Level Construction Incorporated, $256,779.59, and that is for Slip C 950 linear feet of west bulkhead. Item 3, Grand Isle Shipyard, $140,950.54, and that is for the stone for the Minor Jeremy Road connector and the contract labor for the FBO. Excuse me. Item 4, GIS Engineering, $105,291.25, and that is for the 203 Integrated Feasibility Study. Item 5, Sun Industries, $102,478.32, and that is for the South Lafourche Airport Lighting Project. Item 6, Picciola and Associates, $68,565.21, and that is for Slip C 1,671 linear feet of east bulkhead, and also the engineering for the Chevron Bridge. Item 7, Angelette Picciola, $47,410.56, and that is for Slip C 939 linear feet of west sweep dredge and bulkhead, and also Louisiana LA1 Phase 2 mitigation. Item 8, Magnolia Dredge and Dock LLC, $37,038.13, and that's for the LA1 Phase 2 mitigation dredge project. Item 9, Vision Communications, $24,774.59, and that is for phone, cable, and internet services. Item 10, American Integration Contractors, $21,403.24, and that is for the radar relocation project. Item 11, J. Wayne Plaisance Incorporated, $16,243.15, and that is for Slip D hydraulic dredge project. Excuse me. Item 12, Interstate Electronic Systems, $15,210, and that is for the video wall support agreement. Item 13, Bank of America, $15,075. 24 cents, and that is for the monthly port credit card charges. Item 14, HFN Enterprises, $15,000 even, and that is for the AWF testing and assessments. Item 15, Lee Tractor, $12,674, excuse me, even, and that's for the 2018 Kubota. Item 16, Expert Technology, $12,097.06, and that is for the technical support and equipment. And last, we have Guardian Computers LLC, $10,661.25, and that is for technical support and off-site backups. That, and along with our other expenditures, brings us to a total this month of $2,179,086.06. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these expenditures.
Moved by Mr. Mellison,
Second.
second by Mr. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I think we all have this cold going on and can't wait till it leaves the 10th ward. Next, we have consider approving out-of-state travel and training. First, we have Harbor Police Chief John Colley attending the American Association of Port Authorities in California, February 21st through the 23rd. Next, we have Director of IT, Ms. April Danos, Harbor Police Lieutenant Troy Dufresne, and HP Compliance Officer Coordinator attending the DMT Radar Symposium in Florida. And please notice that Ms. Danos will be a key speaker at that event. We also have Ms. Danos attending the National Maritime Security Advisory Committee meeting March 19th through the 22nd in California. Next, we have Executive Director Chasson and 3 commissioners to be determined to attend the American Association of Port Authorities in Washington, D.C., March 20th through the 22nd. Next, we have Harbor Police Chief John Colley attending the Dolan Public Safety Courses in Alabama, March 25th through the 28th. And last, we have Director Chasson and 2 commissioners to be determined to attend the National Oceans Industry Association annual meetings in Washington, D.C., April 10th through the 13th. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these out-of-state travel and training requests.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Mr. President, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mellison. Any other business? Any public comment? I'd just like to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day, especially my wife if she's watching when she sees this. So, Mr. Jeremy?
Mr. President, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Jeremy, second by Mr. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming. Meeting adjourned.